camcorder thing. The camcorder thing is really, really fantastic, I think. Because, I was trained on 35mm, and, if it wasn't 35mm, it didn't exist kind of thing, and I had to have everything on dollies and cranes and, major film industry production type thing. And I'm just really glad that I've got past that and been able to embrace the idea of making films in a much, much freer way, not just with archive, but the ability, yesterday, because these films are improvisations. I'm doing a film about Joe Strummer, and you come to a point you don't know what to do next, and then you find a thing that when he was a kid, you're trying to explain how he moved out of his school into the kind of counterculture world of the late '60s, and how that first began to impress itself on him. And you hear a story where he suddenly one morning decided to paint all the apples in his father's orchard blue, so when his dad woke up, the whole apple orchard would be blue. And I could just go and do that. I got someone who was in town to buy a load of apples and paint, and then we painted them, hung them on a tree, and got one of these camcorders and just filmed it and cut it in straight away, which is so different from my experience on some of our absolute beginners, where, you'd have a big 35mm camera and a crew, and you'd be setting up a shot in this amazing set that we built, the biggest set since Hitchcock's set in the 30s in Shepperton. But then over there, some of the extras, Teddy Boys, would just be playing football or something, and the light was beautiful, and I'd say, quick, get a shot of that. And they'd say, no, Gov, we're setting up for this shot. You can't do that, And I was saying, well, look, take 2 seconds, let's swing the camera around. No, Gov. That attitude, that kind of arthritic, hierarchical bullshit that you get in that kind of filmmaking is completely blown away by this. And is that HD, that one? When you blow that up to film, it looks fantastic, and you can play with it in every kind of way you want anyway. So I just don't see the point really anymore of being that purist with 35mm. I do love 35mm, but I don't like hanging around waiting all night to light a night scene, with 100 people standing around doing nothing while this guy puts big lights up on cranes. And then when you look at it in your rushes, it looks like some fake Hollywood moonlight anyway, and shooting with these things and lighting it. I'm just lighting the whole Joe film with fire, I don't need any gaffer or anything. You just light a fire and sit someone next to the fire with one of these, and you're fine, Well, the film wouldn't exist without the footage that people shot just as people attending the festival. The whole point was to try and get behind that TV distortion of an event like that, where you just see a celebrity interviewed and a band on the pyramid stage, and then a few silly cutaways with a furry microphone killing whatever atmosphere is going on, and the thing of people filming themselves and their friends just gives you a kind of spontaneity and a truth to the sense of being there that you don't get when a media kind of corporate crew come in and parcel it all up in little bites,
That seems to be your style of filmmaking as well, basically using the archive from all over the place to tell the story.
Yeah, I like the idea of not having to film it yourself, basically, lazy. If someone's filmed it, why film it? And often you would never be able to film it in the way that they have filmed it. But more importantly, the idea that you are improvising something in the edit, that the edit itself becomes a kind of alchemical act, that you're taking dead, inert dross, that is not meant to be seen, and you're creating something living from it, and also taking news archive and finding ways of showing it in a different way from it was originally intended. You can create new meanings to images, which is very interesting. Also, you're very free in terms of conventional filmmaking. You don't have 100 people turning up and having to tell them what to do, and a big bank financing it, sitting behind the monitor. It's just a couple of guys or girls, maybe even, at an editing bank. And the sad thing is you have to pay for it. But that's the only drag, because you'd be freer if you didn't have to pay for it.
What about the whole copyleft movement now?
I think that's great. I would certainly be very happy for anything I've ever done to be, taken by someone else and used in a different way. I mean, I think filmmakers should respect other filmmakers to an extent, but I think really anything goes,
So some of the footage you went through was Undercurrents. Had you seen something like that before from Undercurrents? That sort of footage that you saw?
Well, I used to work with a group called Cinema Action when I was at school in London, which was obviously different because it was 16mm film, but they were, making films in that way then. So I had seen it a long time ago in my past life. In one of my past lives, but no, I was very excited to see what you were doing, and it certainly made the sequence around Joe Strummer became very powerful with some of your images in there, as well as what we